Good evening, everybody. I'm extremely pleased to be here with this panel with Asian colleagues to present the view from Asia. We have taken note of the very active participation of 5 Asian states at the Arctic Circle. Singapore is not here with us at the panel, and I would say that we have noted as well a very, very strong signal from Asia by being here at the Arctic Circle with such a big delegation. And I want to refer to President Grimson's statement that he said yesterday, combination, contribution and involvement of Asian states to the Arctic, for example, in the field of science, will be the strongest force in the Arctic. So I would welcome very much my colleagues and my personal experience. I have been in my capacity of former EU ambassador to the Arctic. I had the pleasure to see how the Asian Arctic states, together also I would say with the European ones, are extremely active countries participating in the working group of the Arctic Council. So, gentlemen, the theme here is the view from Asia. We will hear a presentation of each of you. I guess that you will also put emphasis on the specificities of your countries itself, and we will have a presentation of each of you of 3-4 minutes maximum, and then probably have a second round. I will start with the special representative from China and good friend, Feng, who I know for many years. And it's known that China is a very strong player in the Arctic itself, with a lot of scientific, strong research and also strong economic interests, and an observer of the Arctic Council already since 2006. Feng, please.
Thank you, Marianne. It's really nice to see you again in Reykjavik. People know that for 3 years we couldn't go abroad and travel to other capitals. But this year, this is important that this Arctic Circle forum is really important to us to make opportunities for us to share our views on the Arctic. I think this Arctic Circle, this forum, this year is in particular is very particular for us because of the Russian-Ukraine conflict. We know that there is a sudden interruption of the Arctic Council operation, and a number of scientific bodies, the working groups. And we think it is a big blow to the whole Arctic governance. We understand why the situation turned out to be like that, and we fully understand the positions, attitudes towards this situation. But after hearing a lot of presentations in these 2 days, I think I've noticed a very strong signal also at the same time that international cooperation for the future of the Arctic is also as strong as the signal on the conflict, on the Ukraine crisis. This gives me a lot of actually confidence that what we have planned to do in the past really can be continued, and really necessary to continue in many, many areas, that we have to continue our work in spite of the political interruption, such as climate change. We talk quite a lot, not only today, but also in the past, in the previous Arctic Circle meetings. Not only climate change, but also a lot of other things like marine protection, like biodiversity, like the welfare of indigenous people, development and welfare of those indigenous people, sustainable development of the whole region. All these long-term issues remain. They continue to be addressed. The pandemic has demonstrated a number of weakness and vulnerability of this region. And these weakness and vulnerability also need to be addressed in the longer term. So that would mean that we, at those levels, maybe at the highest political level, it would be difficult to continue bodies like Arctic Council. But at the lower level, all these works need to be carried out forward. And I heard almost everyone is calling for that. So that gives me a lot of confidence, and we really like to join this joint effort.
Thank you very much. I take note of the engagement and the willingness that also I heard during this Arctic Circle, that there is a real need to further cooperate given the challenges.
A very good, I think, a very good case to show is the Central Arctic Ocean Fisheries Agreement. So next month, the first COP will be held in Korea. So it's the contribution of, I think, the Asian country, because China, Japan, and Korea are the three Asian countries as the 10 founding members of the agreement. So this mechanism is so important, and it's going to start formally next month.
Excellent.
It's a great event. I must say that we must do it well.
Thank you. Ambassador Takewaka from Japan, also a big player on the Arctic, co-organized a couple of years ago, last year, the Arctic Science Ministerial. We heard yesterday that next year you will have an Arctic Circle Forum, which will take place in Japan, and also Japan is really well known for its impressive Arctic research which it's doing. Ambassador, I would like to have the view of your country on Arctic cooperation today.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for this opportunity. Apart from science, let me state 3 points. The first is green commitment. As a country, Japan is committed to achieving net zero by 2050, but that's not enough as a country. And for the Asia's view, that greener Asia is imperative, because we are expecting strong economic growth of Asia, but we need to achieve greener Asia at the same time, and we would like to assist in it. And second point is maritime resource conservation. As Ambassador Gao already stated, this agreement of Central Arctic Oceans is an important milestone for maritime resource conservation, and also that Japan is proud of G20 Osaka Blue Vision to reduce additional pollution of plastic to zero by 2050. And third point is rule of law, maintaining and strengthening rule-based free and open international order. And all of us, 4 countries, all of us belong to free and open Indo-Pacific. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I think it's very important that you stress the rule of law, which I think is the basis of all cooperation. Secretary General Ravi from India, We heard the presentation yesterday on the new Indian strategy and all the priorities it contains. And I was informed that you are the only state which has a strategy towards the 3 poles, the Arctic, Antarctica, and the 3rd pole. So, Secretary General, I would like to hear your view.
Thank you. Thank you very much being here. Of course, as part of the India's concern, there are 2 important things. One is, of course, science to society, science, how you can do science to services. In that aspect, whatever is happening, we are depend on food and other things. It is mainly depend on the monsoon. So, recent decades, we strongly feel that earlier we thought maybe the Pacific is more influenced in the Indian monsoon. But now, recent 2 decades, it has been realized that Arctic is the major driver for the monsoon. So, the climate change, whatever is happening in the Arctic, it is not a local problem, it is a global problem. So, the teleconnection between the Arctic and the India or in Asian monsoon, or you can say in further in the Indian Ocean region, it is a very complex. So, we need to have better understanding. For that understanding, we need to observe. So, whatever the Arctic nations are doing observation and understanding, we also need to support, and we need to enhance the observation system as well as understanding and modeling and future predictions, what will happen. So, that is one of the main objective, and basically science driven and climate change aspect. And the second thing is also, as you mentioned about tripolar things. So, all the 3 poles we look at holistically, and one of the important things is also the traditional knowledge, what is happening in India, some of the places, especially in the Himalaya and other regions, they have some knowledge treasure. Similarly, here also in Arctic, there is indigenous knowledge is available. So, whether we can harness that knowledge for the betterment of the future. So, these are the 2 main what is called thought process is we are in the Arctic, we want to have more and more research and involvement in that.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad you point to the key importance of science for the Arctic file, and also for your country, the indigenous knowledge, which maybe is not so well known as in the case of the Arctic itself. Thank you very much. Ambassador Hong from South Korea, you have the only country with 30 years of experience of Arctic strategy, and building for the moment also new icebreakers. And when I participated at the South Korea Regional Forum of the Arctic Circle a couple of years ago, also was witness of a very, very impressive polar science program that you have, Ambassador.
Okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Korea's Arctic policy is based on a knowledge-based approach, because what we see is happening in Arctic is a common challenge to all humanity, fighting climate changes. The ice is melting very rapidly, and the temperature is rising 3 times faster or 4 times faster than global average. So Korea has built up kind of expertise, both scientific researchers, has its own capability to contribute to fighting this climate change. And also, you just rightly mentioned that Korea is building second icebreaker. And the first one was built in 2009. Second one is going to be launched by 2027. And also through the new legislation of polar activity promotion law, we are going to build some kind of Arctic integrated information system, which is going to, all information going to be collected and shared with researchers all around the world to contribute to fighting climate change in Arctic and other areas. Basically, we are trying to contribute to common goals, and that's the basic goals, and we have the capacity, and the capacity is being increased day by day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We have about 8 minutes left, and I would like to ask to the colleague here a very, very specific question related to your country, and particularly, how do you see Arctic cooperation? How does your country see Arctic cooperation in the current very turbulent geopolitical environment? Feng, you? like to
So
start?
actually, I have already
I know.
speak to that point. So I really believe that we can still move ahead with all the scientific research programs, with our work in terms of sustainable development in the area. And we want to continue with our work in the field of, for instance, on the fishery resources management, as well as biodiversity and all of that, and climate change.
Does the situation, the geopolitical situation at the crisis for the moment, does it have any effect on your Arctic cooperation?
Yes, in a way. For instance, many people don't know what to do. You see, they got a shock, and they are trying to see what kind of signal that can be sent out of this building. You see. So we take this Arctic Circle, this year's Arctic Circle very seriously, because this is the one after the crisis.
Yep.
So we want to listen to those people talking here, and to try to get some sense. So what can we do in front of this, against this situation? So I have got some very positive signals from this gathering.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador?
Yep. Like Special Representative Gao, we value Arctic Circle Assembly very much. Particularly, we are in such a critical and difficult situation. And my answer is very simple. Science is equally and globally important, regardless of the situation, because that with primary step of addressing the situation is data sharing and access to the scientific data. And regardless of the situation, this forum will help a lot of scientists and a lot of researchers gather and come up together. And we believe that international cooperation and research and development will continue and survive.
Would you say that with the pause of the work of the Arctic Council and the working groups as non-Arctic states and observers of the Arctic Council, has that an impact on, for example, the cooperation that Japan has with others?
Well, of course, there is that. Because of the pause of the Arctic Council, a lot something is not accessible. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that we should stop thinking about. We should still we're projecting what to do next. And I'm hopeful that our Japan Forum next March will give us brighter and wider perspectives.
Thank you very much. We will be looking forward to your forum. Secretary General Ravi?
Yeah, I think it is really setback for the entire global community. But at the same time, of course, for us, Indian perspective, our main drivers are, as I told, it is a science. For that, it has to continue. Of course, related to this Arctic Council working group meetings and various meetings, I think it has to continue to go on. I strongly echo what our colleagues from Japan was about mentioning. I think we have to continue, and we should not, we have to, maybe we have to, since it is having a huge coastline of Russia, so we need to, whatever way possible way we have to what is called negotiate and collaborate, and we have to bring it on board. It has to be, it is important, but at the same time it is not in anybody's hand. And we as a country, we would like to have some what is called negotiating and try to bring it on board. That is things which we are looking at it.
But the geopolitical tensions have not affected our cooperation in one way or another one?
In Arctic, for our things in Arctic, there is no effect. Nothing is affected because we are not strongly working with that particular country, any country. So we don't have much serious effect on that.
Thank you. Ambassador Hong?
Okay, about your question about is conflict in Ukraine is affecting what you are doing in Arctic. Yeah, of course, there's a significant effect on it. And because Korea's cooperation and contribution to Arctic has been made mainly through Arctic Council, the working groups. Many of them are now opposed, so even though Arctic nations and non-Arctic states are trying to salvage some of the functions, it's still suspended or much postponed. But we'll continue our efforts to continue some projects are, I think, salvageable in a sense. So we are trying to contact Nordic states bilaterally in some cases and trying to what can do. And we're encouraging our researchers to contact their counterpart to continue our work. And basically, it's meteorological study researches and Arctic environment. That's something we have to carry on. Another way forward is that we are trying to strengthen our bilateral activities in a sense. We are trying to meet more regularly with Arctic states, such Nordic states. And for example, I had a meeting with Norway and going to have a meeting with Finland tomorrow. And that's another way. Also, next month, late next month, I mean in November, we are going to hold the first conference of parties of Central Arctic Ocean Fisheries Agreement in Korea. Because it's a very remarkable achievement. It comprises both Arctic states and non-Arctic states, such as Korea, China, Japan, and also it's the first actually a governing system which includes non-Arctic and Arctic states, and based on precautionary approach, representing in a sense, global humanitarian goals to the environmental protection. So I think something is remarkable, and I'm very proud of hosting the first conference in Korea.
Thank you very much. And I think Feng and yourself highlighted the importance of this high sea fisheries agreement, which also the European Union is a member. I see we have no time left, but can I still have one question from the public? One. I get allowance to have one. Is there one question? No, there is no question. So yes, there is a question. Yes. Please, can you present yourself?
Of course. My name is Rocky Weitz. I'm Director of Maritime Studies at Tufts University's Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. This was a great panel, and thank you all for your comments. I wanted to ask, how do those of us who have a global perspective, especially in the academic community, can do track 2 diplomacy, how can we support Indo-Pacific collaboration in the Arctic from places like Boston? Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to answer?
I think
yes, okay.
Secretary General would be the one to answer that.
Yeah, of course, Indo-Pacific, because we are in both sides, we are what is called looking at it to what are the things are happening in Indo-Pacific region. But the commonality is anytime if it comes, Arctic plays a major role. So that is why we cannot isolate with the Arctic. So we have to have a together. It is a global common actually. It is a one ocean is not according to us. It's a ocean is one ocean concept. So always we have to look at that aspect.
Excellent. The gentleman liked your answer. So I would like to thank the panelists very, very much for presenting the view of Asia, the view of your country to the Arctic Circle. And I'm impressed that also the spirit of international cooperation in these very difficult times is absolutely key to continue, and where also knowledge base and science plays a key role. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.